Hi, everyone. Rob Blackman here, and hello and welcome to the Boilermaker Basketball BBQ. Nice to have you with us tonight. And first and foremost, in case you didn't hear what I just said a couple of seconds ago, my apologies for the technical difficulties. Welcome to 2020, right? Yes, such is the world we live in right now. Anyway, nice to have you with us tonight. I appreciate you going through the extra effort to be a part of our evening. Actually, I know this is a little bit different than we're used to. This time of the year, we always have our Boilermaker basketball barbecue. It's always a lot of fun. We talk some Boilermaker basketball. We're going to do that again tonight, but we're just going to do it virtually. That's the only difference. We're not all together, unfortunately, but we can still all talk Purdue basketball. Coming up tonight, just as we would have any other Boilermaker basketball barbecue, we're going to have Coach Sharon Versup join us. She's going to talk Purdue women's basketball with us. Coach Matt Painter is going to join us. He's going to talk Boilermaker men's basketball, get the scoop on the upcoming season. So we look forward to hearing from both of those. Also coming up here in just a little bit on our program, Tim House is going to join us. Tim, one of our senior associate athletic directors. He's going to talk to you about the More Than a Game campaign, which we are currently in the midst of here at Purdue University with the Purdue Athletics Department. So Tim's going to join us. And also coming up here in just a couple of seconds is Karen Eminger. She is actually the president of the Purdue Alumni Association of Indianapolis. And by the way, if somewhere in the future you see someone from the Purdue Alumni Club of Indianapolis, or you maybe see someone from the John Purdue Club, I would suggest that you give them a pat on the back and thank them for making this event happen. Of course, when we can pat each other on the back once again, when we're allowed to touch one another once again, give them a pat on the back and say thank you for helping to make this Boilermaker basketball barbecue happen, of course, virtually. As I said up front, a little different this year, but hey, at least we still have a chance to talk basketball. Now, before we get completely started, I do want to bring this up to you. I know it's a virtual barbecue, but it is still a barbecue. And so you are expected, as with any invitation to a barbecue, to bring with you something to offer at the barbecue for the rest of the barbecue attendees. I know it's a virtual event, but that doesn't mean that all of a sudden you can go cheap on us and not bring something to the barbecue. To show you that I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and give me just a second here. Here's what I brought to the barbecue for all of us to enjoy. Hopefully we can see this. How about a little potato salad, everyone? Potato salad for the barbecue? What did you bring? Hopefully you brought something. Like I said, it's in poor taste to show up to a barbecue with nothing to offer. Here's what you can do. Take a picture of what you brought to the barbecue and send it to me. That way I know that you didn't try to go the cheap route on us this year. Send it to me via, let's say, my Twitter account. What do you about that? If you're on Twitter, you can find me at onair_R_Blackman. Send me a picture of what you brought, huh? All right, so let's get started here. Our very first guest speaker of the evening is Karen Eminger. Karen is the president of the Purdue Alumni Club of Indianapolis. As you can tell, she's much better at technology than I am because you can actually see her right now, which you could not see with me earlier. So Karen, welcome to the show. And I guess I'll put it this way. Instead of saying the microphone is all yours, the computer screen is all yours. Good luck.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good evening. On behalf of the Purdue Alumni Association of Indianapolis, I would like to welcome you to the 2020 virtual Boilermaker Basketball Barbecue. My name is Karen Eminger. I am the president of Purdue Alumni of Indianapolis. I want to thank everyone who has joined today and everyone who has generously donated to our scholarship fund. Since it was founded in 1890, Purdue Alumni of Indianapolis has been connecting alumni to each other and to Purdue through events and activities. A particular point of pride for Purdue Alumni of Indianapolis is our commitment to student success, having awarded over $200,000 in scholarships to deserving students in Marion and Hamilton counties. I also want to thank those of you attending who are Purdue Alumni Association members. Your membership directly supports our club with funding for alumni programming and club scholarships. For those who are interested in joining, please visit purduealumni.org/membership. There are many to thank for making this event possible, each of you for joining us, the Purdue Alumni of Indianapolis Board for coordinating, the Purdue Alumni Association, and the John Purdue Club for co-hosting and their support with putting together this event. I hope everyone enjoys the program. Thank you.
All right, very good. Karen, thank you very much. And again, a huge thank you from all of us here with Purdue athletics. The fact that Purdue Alumni Association of Indianapolis was able to team up with the JPC and make this thing happen. Again, in a very unique way, but as I've been saying all night, welcome to 2020. This is how we do things now, isn't it? Our next guest speaker is Tim House. Tim, a Senior Associate Athletics Director. He is the Assistant Vice President for Development. And maybe even more importantly for all of us, he is, when it comes to the JPC, the John Purdue Club, he's the man. Yeah, he is. And he's going to talk to us tonight about a very special thing that we have going. It's been going for a couple of months. You probably already know about it. It's the More Than a Game campaign. I'm going to let Timmy tell you all about that, as well as bring you up to speed on what's going on in the JPC. So with that, Tim House, welcome to our virtual barbecue, and the stage is yours.
Hey, Rob, thanks for having me. Always excited to be at a barbecue. I apologize. I don't have my food item here. When we're having those technical difficulties, I got a little hungry, and food doesn't last very long around me. But anyways, it just tickled to death to get the opportunity to gather with Boilermakers. You know, there was a time when we weren't sure we were going to have a football season and a basketball season to talk about. And we're just so thankful to get to do the things we're getting to do right now. Obviously, it's fun being 2-0 on the gridiron and having an exciting basketball season to look forward to for both our men's and women's programs. And you'll hear more about that here soon. And I just want to emphasize that the only way we've been able to pull these things off and to have these seasons is through the generous support of a lot of our donors to the John Purdue Club. And I really want to say thank you to those folks who are on the call and educate you guys on the More Than a Game campaign that we've been running. In the face of COVID, you know, we had to really kind of evaluate how we were going to fund our entire athletics operation. How do we continue to maintain the level of excellence you've grown to appreciate as Boilermakers with the loss of ticket sales, with the loss of parking sales, with the loss of TV revenue? I mean, for instance, the Wisconsin game getting canceled this weekend, and even their game getting canceled last weekend. You know, between those two games, every school in the league's lost $1 million from their budget. So you're constantly having to think about where it's coming from. And this campaign was set up to address those needs. And you know, our goal on the outset of this was to raise about $18 million. That was the deficit we felt like we were going to have with having football and with having basketball, but without having fans in the stands. And that's going to continue to be around that number. And it is a bit of a moving target. Hopefully we don't have any more football cancellations. Hopefully we don't have anything with basketball. But to date, we've been very proud of the fact that in less than 2 months, Boilermakers have stepped up all over the country and given $6 million, which is crazy, you know, I mean, with nothing in return, just to help us, to make sure that our support staff, the folks behind the scenes who make our teams, have what they need to do their job. So again, very appreciative. And I can't stress enough how critical of a need it is. And I really want to thank PAA and the Purdue for Life Foundation for all their partnership on that campaign and giving us the opportunity to talk about it here tonight. So I think we're going to roll a video on the campaign here to give you guys a better idea of exactly where your support, if you've given to it or if you're planning to give to it, will be going. And then I'll hop on here at the end to kind of explain a little more about how you can make a contribution.
When I came to Purdue, I saw tremendous promise and a university community that was hungry for success. In a few short years, we've seen electrifying moments in a sold-out Ross-Ade and 2 more Big Ten championship banners hung in Mackey. We've made progress by trying to make smart decisions. We invest where it makes the most impact, and we surround ourselves with talented people. While there are always challenges, 2020 has been an unprecedented year for our entire world, and one that has been extraordinarily disruptive for college athletics. But if there's anything I've grown to respect and admire about Boilermakers, like the big fellow behind me here, it's their grit, strength of character, and ability to persevere when times are tough. Even during these recent days, our student athletes, coaches, fans, and staff have continued to be all in, achieving academically, being involved socially, giving generously, mentoring, developing, and recruiting. Everyone has continued to do their part, because Boilermakers know it's more than just a game. It always has been.
For me, it's about development. Because of Purdue, I'm able to compete at the highest level and earn an education at one of the top universities in the nation. My experience here is helping prepare me for a leadership role after college.
For me, it's about opportunity. Purdue gave me the chance to escape the segregated South and become a champion. But more importantly, become a part of a family, one that I have spent my life giving back to.
For us, it's about family. The Purdue community was there for us during our most difficult time. Tyler wasn't just our son, he became everyone's son. Because of his faith and the loving support of the Boilermaker family, he became a beacon of hope.
For me, it's about love. Love not just for Purdue University, but for all of the student athletes with whom I've had the honor of working in my 40 years of Purdue.
We've long been an athletics department that believes in earning what we get and being a good partner to our campus and community. We don't receive any taxpayer dollars or general funds from the university. Those resources go to where they belong, the education of our student body. We operate on revenues generated by our events and the support of people like yourself. We've taken many steps and will take many more to be fiscally responsible in the face of this crisis. But it's apparent that those won't completely do the job. So we need to ask for your help to keep it going. All the hard work and progress that's been made in so many areas is in jeopardy. We face significant budgetary shortfalls, potentially as much as $50 million, that will compromise the opportunities we provide our Boilermaker student athletes, affect people's livelihoods, and if not resolved, alter the trajectory of Purdue athletics for years to come. Like all of you, I can't wait to go to a game again, to tailgate together, cheer on big plays together, and spend time in person with the entire Purdue family. I can't wait to hang on every snap, every shot, every bounce of the ball. Man, do I miss competition, and I can't wait for it to be back. But as much as we love seeing our Boilermakers in action, we can't lose sight of the fact that Purdue athletics is, and always has been, more than a game. And in order to continue impacting the lives of our student athletes, our alumni, our fans, we respectfully ask for your support now, as it's needed more than ever. I hope you'll join me in donating to the More Than a Game initiative to protect the future of Purdue athletics. Thank you, and Boiler up.
Hope you all enjoyed that video. Again, cannot thank those of you who have already been a part of that campaign enough for what you've done. This is a very real need that we're addressing here. I don't know if you might not have seen it, but University of Iowa's already cut 4 sports. University of Minnesota's cut 4 sports. Michigan State cut swimming and diving just last week. We don't ever want to have to do something like that here at Purdue. And thanks to those of you who stepped up, it's looking like we may not have to. And even beyond cutting sports, it's about maintaining the level of support that we have for our student athletes in every sport, the people behind the scenes, our strength coaches, our nutritionists, our academic staff. We have the best in the country, and we want to keep it that way. So everyone who's helping us with that is making that possible. It's never been more important than it is right now, and we simply can't thank you enough. So with that, let's talk about some more fun stuff and bring you the folks who you came here to hear tonight. Rob, I'll kick it to you, and then you'll introduce our stars here. But thank you again for the opportunity, and thank you to the Purdue for Life Foundation and PAA for partnering with us on this.
All right, Tim House, thank you very much for that. And hey, how about Tim? He actually does bring a side dish to the barbecue, but eats all of it before he can share it with anyone else. I mean, Tim, come on, man. Seriously. I have not touched any of the potato salad yet. Not yet anyway. All right, let's talk some Boilermaker basketball. How about Boilermaker women's basketball? We'll start with Coach Sharon Versup. Can you believe Coach Versup is embarking on her 15th season as the head coach of our Boilermaker women's basketball program? Last year, they were 18-14. And as you well know, just like everyone else in college basketball, had that season abruptly come to an end just as they were waiting to find out where their postseason fate may lie. So with that, I'm happy to welcome in Coach Versup to join me here at our Boilermaker Basketball Barbecue. Coach Versup, nice seeing you, and thanks for giving us some time here on this Wednesday evening. If you don't mind, I'd like to start right there where I was talking about the way your season came to an abrupt end last year. Can you take our fans through exactly how it went down within your basketball program, finding out that, hey, the season's over, and unfortunately, we don't get a chance to play any postseason basketball?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a trying time for everybody, and we concluded our Big Ten, tournament run, played really well there. And we were mainly practicing, that week in order for the NCAA, and we were going to give our players a couple days off because there's like 2 weeks in between the NCAA tournament. And we practiced Thursday morning. We're going to come back on that Sunday night and start practicing again. And then Thursday afternoon, pretty much, they pretty much canceled basketball. And so during that time, it was just very difficult. We're trying to get our international kids home. All of our, the kids that live in the States, we were just trying to collaborate and try to figure all those things out. And a couple of our international kids didn't get to go home. But it just came an abrupt end, and it was just not all of us were together because we practiced that morning. So there was just never any closure. And then obviously everybody else went through the same thing with the pandemic and just trying to stay connected with them constantly twice a week. And then all of us talking to them individually on Zoom as much as we could.
And then how did that ultimately affect things this summer, Sharon? Obviously players are normally in the gym in the summer times, normally working together as a unit, whether it be, a couple players with a coach or just getting in pickup games on their own. How did that affect summertime workouts in these unprecedented times?
Yeah, it was extremely trying. I mean, none of the kids could really do anything. They couldn't get out. They couldn't obviously lift at all because all gyms across the country and internationally were closed. So by the time we brought them back, we didn't bring them back till July. And as we brought them back, the COVID was really hitting. Everybody was still trying to figure things out. And, you'd only have 2 in a gym with a coach. And so it was really nothing that was normal, and it was very difficult. So really 5 or 6 months, these young women were not physically doing a lot. And that really wears down anybody, but especially women. It was 6 months. So we brought them back August 15th, and we've been doing very well and continue to get better. And, knock on wood, things have gone pretty well.
I'm going to shift gears just a little bit here with you, Sharon. We just heard Tim House talk about the More Than a Game campaign. You're a former Boilermaker student athlete. I mean, you played here. Obviously, you've now coached here for 15 years. But I think it's important that the folks that are on board with us tonight know that you yourself made a personal donation to the More Than a Game campaign. Do you mind speaking about that and why that is so important to you on an individual level and a personal level?
I think what you just said, I was a student athlete here and Purdue's family. And, being able to get a full ride scholarship to play, obviously, and now being here 15 years, the generosity, the commitment that Purdue has made to myself and our program, I was one of the first ones that would love to step up and give back because they've just been amazing. This is my family. And so I just thank them every day. So this is in return, this would be the best thing to be able to help out.
All right. So let's fast forward to the important stuff, right? This season, which fingers crossed, we're going to get ourselves a basketball season here and should be starting here later this month. We're hopeful for. So couple of key graduations from last year. Ariana Harris, obviously one of the best defensive players our school has ever seen, holds the school record in block shots. Dominic Oden was a 4-year starter, no longer available to the Boilermakers here, and also the injury to Carissa McLaughlin, who looks like she's probably lost for the year with the ankle injury. So 3 key pieces from last year's team you can't count on this year, but I know you're excited about the pieces that you do have in place for this season. Do you mind talking about them?
Absolutely. And I think, we brought 2 transfers in, Brooke Moore from Auburn and Rakia Dumbia from Arkansas. So they brought a different flavor to the team, which I think is great, playing in different conferences, the SEC. So I think that helped. But all of our players came back and they're hungry. They haven't played basketball. Something was taken away from them for 6 months. So it's kind of like that commitment level, being in the gym, doing the things that maybe we get stagnant of doing. I just think we're doing some really good things. We're going to have to play big this year. And we have 4 kids, 6'3" to 6'6". And so we're going to use our length quite a bit. Rashea Cow's a freshman. And we don't count on freshmen, but, she is 6'6". You can't teach that. She's, can do some good things down low with Fatu and Nagwagoni and Ricky Waltman. And then the 4 guards that have been really consistent, really the one that has jumped off the map is Kayana Traylor. And we really needed that from her because she knew without Neek and Carissa right now, as a point guard, she had to step up verbally, have 3 levels of the game on the defensive end and the offensive end. And she's just a totally different player for us right now. And then you have Cass Hart and Tam Farquhar, who hurt her knee. She came back. She is ready to go. She's doing some really good things, and Janelle Grant. So we've got some experience. So when you have seniors and juniors, we're going to play a little different. We're going to do a lot of different type of defenses to try to use our athleticism and our deflections to get up and down and run as much as we can.
I mentioned it briefly. You've talked a little bit about it, Carissa McLaughlin. I guess we probably should bring probably they know, but just in case for folks that are on board with us tonight, Carissa, ankle surgery right this past summer. Is she doing okay and rehab's going okay? It's just probably won't see her until next season. Is that the thinking, or how is that going?
Rehab's gone really well. She's really ahead of herself. Your reconstructive ankle surgery takes 4 months, but she's a worker. And so she's really recovered. She's actually today got through an hour of practice, which was nice. Just all offense, of course. That defense is going to take a minute, when you have lower leg injuries. But just really pleased with what she can do. And if she is on our practice squad, I think with her and the 2 transfers, that could be a pretty fun practice squad that's going to prepare us and get us better.
All right. So what about this team in particular, Coach Versup? This team, what excites you the most about when you and the coaches are, just getting together and talking about different things? What excites you the most about this year's club?
What excites me the most is since I've been here, they're probably the most competitive, and they enjoy it, and they compete at every position. We haven't always had that. Usually you may have 5 players and then 3 may compete. We compete at every level, and they're fun, and they get after each other and can have some fun. And that doesn't always happen, but when you can coach them hard, then good things happen.
All right, Coach Versup, if you don't mind, number one, I have to put on my reading glasses here. We have a couple of questions that have been submitted earlier in the week from the folks that are with us tonight online. And we're just going to keep it to 2 here so we can let the program move along. But first question submitted here randomly from one of our fans. Considering the circumstances this year, the biggest adjustment as a coach you've had to overcome this season?
I'd have to say there's 3 different adjustments. There's more than that. You said 1, but I'm going to give you a couple. Obviously, the COVID-19 is a moving target. You just really have to try to keep your players safe. They have to live in a bubble. There's not much of a life. Their normalcy is coming to practice, and they go to class, they go back, and they just hang out with each other. But, continue to keep them safe. The second thing is really not doing anything for 5 or 6 months and trying to keep them free from injury, the stressors on their legs. When women don't lift for 6 months, that's a lot. And so we were trying to build their bodies up. And then the social issues have been a huge thing that will continue to be talked about and discussed. And so, kind of all of those collectively has been very, very challenging.
All right, second question here, and the final question for you, Coach Versup. And let me make sure I read this here. This is a great question, actually. With the extra year of eligibility, how does this affect recruiting in the next few years? And again, just to bring our viewers up to speed here, NCAA has granted basically a blanket waiver that this season doesn't count as far as eligibility. So in other words, if you're a senior this year, you could play the entire season, come back next year and be a senior again. How's that affected recruiting?
Well, I mean, been fortunate in 2021, we already had our 4 commits, so we really didn't have any scholarships, but you obviously, if you can find money for somebody, you try to. In our 2022, we already have 2 commits. So now you have to really look at stuff. If they're going to graduate, they'll probably move on. There's some that may want to stay because they want to get their master's. And, so you have to look at it and really understand where your recruiting calendar is. But also it allows people that are transferring in, why not put a waiver in? Because if it's a free year, it's a free year. Anything can happen. I think as a staff, you have to look at the pros and cons. And if people are on track to graduate, they probably will.
Coach Versa, thank you for being a part of our evening tonight. And most importantly, our fingers are crossed that we get this season started at the end of this month. So good luck to you and the Boilermakers, and thanks again for giving us some time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, there she is, folks. 15th season she begins as the head coach of our Boilermaker women's basketball program, a former Boilermaker student athlete herself, Sharon Versa. Very nice to have her giving us a few minutes tonight. Well, speaking of former Boilermaker student athletes and current head basketball coaches, Matt Painter is in his 16th season, believe it or not, embarking on his 16th year as the head coach of the Boilermaker basketball program. And we're happy to have Coach Painter join us to talk about things in the Boilermaker men's basketball program, how they're going so far. Although, first a question here for you, Coach Painter, and same one I had actually for Coach Versup, actually. Do you mind taking our fans through the end of last season, how abruptly it ended, and how your team found out that, hey, the season's over. I guess we all have to go home now, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah, it was kind of difficult, when it happened, the night before, we thought we would just wake up and the decision would be made. The fact that they let the first game, let the players go to that first game, we found out that they were, they were there and they were starting to go out and shoot and get ready for the game. And obviously we went to our shoot around. So we finished our shoot around, and right when we were getting to the end, I think about 10 minutes to go, we got the word that everything's been called off. And so, you just thought you'd wake up and it'd be called off. And then when it wasn't, you're like, okay, we're going to have a chance to play here in the tournament. And we were excited about that. We obviously had to play our way into the NCAA tournament. We hadn't been in that position really before, outside of maybe my second year here. I thought we had to win a game in the Big Ten tournament, and we were able to do that against Iowa to get in. But you get stuck at that position where like you always know what you're doing as a coach because you've just been through it before. And so you're like, well, why do you do this? Well, I do this in scheduling because I've done it for 27, 28 years and I've made those mistakes. Well, why do you do this in recruiting? Or why do you attack a zone this way? Like, you just go through so many things that you have the experience of doing. You just don't have any experience. You don't know what to say to them. Here, all of a sudden you're like, it's surreal. Like, hey, your career's over. Okay, let's stack it up and go back to the hotel and you don't know what to say. And but it's you deal with it. And I felt bad for our guys that couldn't play anymore. Guys that are returning. You got another year. It's like this year, everybody's really getting a bonus year. Hopefully we're going to have a great year, have a complete year. I don't know if we'll have a complete year, but you just make the most of it. But getting in the summer and just getting our guys back. Our guys came back earlier, and so you have your ups and downs. You have your quarantine. You have your downtime. Just from a mental health standpoint, trying to help your players understand. But also, it's not a Purdue issue or an Indiana issue. It's a world issue. It's like, this is when it hits you and you're feeling down. It's hitting everybody. And so, like, quit feeling sorry for yourself. And understand that, it's just something that you're going through, but everybody else is going through. And so we've had that all the way throughout, June until up and right to right now. You have your ups and downs. We had a couple of tests. I call them false positives. The doctors wouldn't call them a false positive, but that's what everybody kind of looks at. Our team, before we started practicing, was out for a week for 2 people on our staff that had a regular test. And then when they retested, and everything came back, they were fine. And so, but we set out for a week and shouldn't have had to set out for a week, but that was nobody's fault. It's just kind of part of the protocol and what you have to go through. So, that's more than anything trying to just help your guys. But, it's something that we're going to have to deal with and deal with that adversity going forward.
You mentioned a little bit, or a second ago, I should say, about June in the summer months. How was the summer different for your guys? Again, as I talked with Sharon about, normally everyone's on campus and working out, playing pickup games. How different was it?
Well, our guys were back, but we couldn't start our workouts until I think, July 20th, whatever that date was that they gave us, where we could be with our guys. And and work out. But before that, those guys were doing things and trying to stay, as active as they could. But it's not hands-on. And then in between the end of summer school and the beginning of school, we gave them the option to, they could stay here or go home. About half of our team, was here. So we've been doing stuff. It's been off and on, but we've probably still been more on after July 20th than we've been off.
Gotcha. Something I talked to Sharon about also, you, just like Coach Versa, a former Boilermaker student athlete, you personally gave to the More Than a Game campaign.
Mm-hmm.
You mind talking about what that means to you and why you
Right.
participate?
I think it was, it's the right thing to do. I don't think you should be congratulated on doing what you're supposed to do. Everybody stepped up and did what they're supposed to do. And, I think that kind of shows how we are at Purdue and, blue collar and try to be selfless. And, I openly talk about, coaches are people that, that are overpaid really when you get down to it. In comparison, when you talk about other coaches and what they go through, like nobody got into coaching to make money. And it's just one of those things that's just boomed. And, but like, to me, I would have done this, as long as I could have made a living. I was going to be a high school coach, but I wanted to get into the college piece of it. But to be in this position and make the money that we do, it's crazy, man. So anything I can do to give back, I've been very fortunate and I'm very grateful, for the position I'm in. So I was glad I could help, our student athletes and our situation.
All right, so let's get down to the nitty gritty here, Coach Painter. This year's team, I mean, what have you seen in practice? What excites you? What should our fans be excited about for this squad?
I think I'm like any other coach in America. I leave the arena and I think we can beat anybody on Monday. I don't think we can beat anybody on Tuesday. And so you go, you haven't had the same training and you're not as deep. And so we have a couple guys that are still out. So we have 9 scholarship guys out there. And I feel good about our guys, but we didn't get the practice starting June 15th and go for 8 weeks like we normally do. We didn't get the full-fledged, what we wanted to do right away in the end of August when school started all the way through. We've had our interruptions. We haven't had our full team, but we're no different than anybody else. That's the one thing that you got to keep in mind, that everybody is going through something like this. And we've probably been in a better position than most, just listening to a lot of stories that are out there in men's basketball. So, but I like our group. I think we'll be a better offensive team with this group. I don't know if we'll be a better defense team. Right now, we're not a better defensive team. So we got to work on that. We got to find an identity on the defensive end. We have to be good at keeping the ball in front of us, keeping the ball out of the paint, keep our rebound balance. We get behind too many plays, which I think probably a lot of coaches right now would say the same thing. Anytime you get behind plays or you get too many rotations, you're going to foul, you're going to have bad rebound balance. And so we just have to be more fundamentally sound. And then we're turning the ball over too much offensively. I think that's always an Achilles early in practice, almost every year. But it's something where, we have to do a good job, and it's something we've done a good job of doing that. We just got to keep working on making the right play, making the right decision, being under control, being quick but not hurrying, and just keep plugging. You can't miss steps in the process. And sometimes your time gets scrunched and you want to skip steps. If you do that, you're going to make it worse. And so we got to stay with, coaching our system and also making sure guys are doing things fundamentally correct and just keep teaching the game. But you can't lose your competitive spirit. It's something that outplaying people, you got to play harder than people, but you also got to play smarter than people. And that combination's always been the best recipe.
Two-part question here, Coach Painter. Number one, this group has no seniors on the roster. That's something new for you. That's never happened since you've been at least at Purdue as a head coach with no seniors. The concern there, if there is a concern. And secondly, the other end of that, the freshmen coming in, and I would include Mason Gillis and Brandon Newman in that too, since they redshirted last year. Which of those, that group of freshmen, which would be 5, I guess, with all the scholarship freshmen, which of those guys maybe can help right away, you think?
Well, I think the first part of your question, just the experience, I think sometimes that gets the emphasis of that gets a little bit carried away. I think the experience of having success is important. If you've played a long time and you've played the right way and you've won and just being old and getting your brains beat in doesn't help you. And so, hey, we got a bunch of seniors. Well, they've lost for 3 years. You know, I mean, who cares? Like the goal is to win games and be consistent. So that's what, you know, our juniors really have to do well for us in those areas and establish themselves. And if not, you're going to see a lot more younger players playing. Like I would rather have it where guys can establish themselves, but we've had teams where you've seen freshmen make impacts. You know, we've had teams where we've had 3 or 4 freshmen starting. And we got second in the Big Ten one time, obviously with a bunch of really good freshmen. You know, Carson and Caleb Swanigan made impacts as freshmen. We've had other freshmen who have started for us. But now we have 5 freshmen out of 11 scholarship guys, and 2 of those guys are out. Emmanuel Dewana is out right now, and Ethan Morton is out right now. And so trying to mix everything in, I think all those guys are going to play. So like picking one of them, you know, Mason and Brandon have been with us now for a year, and I think that year really helped them. You know, both of them are in a better position today than they were last year at this time, understanding what's going on, competing. You know, both of them are shot makers, which is huge. Zach Eady gives us just a mammoth presence inside. He's played well in practice. He's finished at the rim. He's really rebounded the ball well. Jaden Ivey is probably our most athletic guard, very fast, you know, learning a lot. All those guys are learning a lot, but sometimes as guards and you play multiple positions, you're kind of learning more. And sometimes that's a hair overwhelming. And that was something last year with Brandon and Mason that I just thought like a year of seasoning and watching would really help. Well, now Ethan and Jaden, you know, they're not in that same position. You know, they're in a different position, but that's also why they chose to come to Purdue, is that opportunity. So they have a great opportunity, you know, to be able to play. All 5 of those freshmen do. And so we're excited about that, but we're also understanding that, you know, trying to blend them with other guys. If we can have a really good blend, you know, especially with those juniors, Isaiah Thompson got a lot of experience last year. That would really help. But those 4 juniors are going to be very important to our team.
All right, Coach Painter, we do have a couple of questions that have been sent to us here by the viewers tonight that were pre-selected. So just 2 questions here. Number 1, if Mackey Arena is empty, do you feel it will still provide a home court advantage?
That's a great question. I can answer that in March. You know, it's something that, you know, you just simply don't know. You know, it kind of reminds you of those secret scrimmages that we go into and we play in the empty gym, and you can hear everything that's said by coaches, players. And so it's going to be a little bit different. I know you're going to be able to, you know, infuse some noise and do some different things. I don't know the parameters of that, but obviously our fans and Mackey Arena has been a huge advantage for us. So I would say it probably hurts us a little bit, but it's also something we've talked about where we got to find our own energy as a team in practice and really work towards that. Even if some of that's a little bit fake and false, just to try to get yourself going at all times. Because if you're a basketball player and you go into Mackey Arena and you play with our fans there and you can't get fired up, there's something wrong with you. You know, you're on the wrong team, you know, you're in the wrong locker room. But now, you know, you got to be able to find it. And that's, you know, you play for the love of the game. And so now going out there, like you have to find that energy and go out there and lay it on the line like we have a packed house in Mackey Arena.
All right, second question here, Coach Painter. How have former players impacted the program the most after their time at Purdue when their playing days are over?
How have they impacted our program the most?
Yes.
Probably just staying involved. You know, we have a lot of things, you know, for them to come back, whether it's, you know, reunions, Big Ten championships. We have our alumni game every other August. Just that connection, you know, where we've had it where, you know, we've played Indiana and we've had those guys leave a message to fire our team up. And then we've put stuff up on the board and we've passed out cell phone numbers so those guys would understand, you know, the rivalry between Indiana and Purdue, or what it means to win a Big Ten championship, or just the balance of how important your education is at Purdue. So you can hear guys that have been in their position that are in their 70s, their 60s, their 50s, their 40s, you know, just, you know, how much it meant to them, how much it means going forward. But, you know, for us, we also have a great, you know, connection across the board just because our previous coach, Katie, was here for 25 years. So we've had 2 coaches in 40 years, and it helps out professionally.
When those guys get done playing professional basketball, just all the guys that have gotten their degrees, that have played here, that are in the workforce, that now can help our players kind of get started in their second careers after basketball.
Well, Coach Painter, thanks for giving us some time tonight. Best
All
of
right.
luck this season, and fingers crossed we'll start this season sometime later this month. Thank you, Coach.
There you go. Thanks, Rob.
All right, Coach Matt Painter, they're kind enough to join us and talk some Boilermaker basketball. All right, folks, we're not quite done just yet. We're very close, but not quite. We do have some raffle prizes to give away. Now, these have been pre-selected as well. For those that signed up to be a part of our evening tonight, you had a chance to get into the raffle. No, you do not have to stand up and walk yourself over to my house to pick up the prizes. We're going to actually mail them to you. So if you hear your name, be looking for something in the mail very soon, because we're going to mail you actually the raffle prize that you have won. But here are our winners for our raffle prizes here for the Boilermaker Basketball Barbecue 2020. Tamara Guard. That's a good name, isn't it, for a basketball barbecue? Guard. That's a very good one. Tamara Guard, congratulations. Also, Jerian DeJong, and I apologize if I didn't pronounce that first name right. I believe it's Jerian DeJong. Congratulations. Also, Ellen Peter, John Tellman, and Eric Acker. Congratulations to you. You have won the raffle prizes. Again, you don't have to do anything other than relax and enjoy some time at your house and check your mailbox here in a couple of days, because the prize is going to be sent to you. A couple quick things here before we go. Please remember this, the web address, if you would like to contribute, be a part of the More Than a Game campaign. I need to make sure I get this right. Here's the web address, jpcmorethanagame.com. Again, jpcmorethanagame.com. That's how you can get online, help us, help the Boilermaker athletic family, and help us to continue to hopefully, slowly but surely, move back to a sense of normalcy and get ourselves back to what we hope is a packed house in Mackey Arena, a packed stadium in Ross-Age Stadium. How about a packed baseball field out at Alexander Field too? That probably sounds okay. I hope it certainly does for me. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, everyone. Again, virtually, that's just how it is in 2020. But those of you that went through the effort to be a part of our program tonight, we thank you very much. This event, by the way, has been recorded, and it will be sent to you via email. So if you'd like to watch it again, maybe you didn't hear something clearly, or you'd just like to share it with a friend or family member, a fellow Boilermaker, please know that this event has been recorded. It will be emailed to you, so you can have it to watch it 2, 3, 15 times. That'll be up to you. Time now for me, by the way, to finally get to enjoy my potato salad. Yes, there it is, Tim House, my potato salad. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. I'm Rob Blackman. A huge thank you. Have a great rest of your night, and let's look forward to some Boilermaker basketball here coming up in the very near future. Boiler up, hammer down, hail Purdue, and good night, everyone.